All right, thank you so much for joining us today. I wanted to talk to you about decreasing your mean time to detection using chaos engineering. So, first and foremost, why do we focus and measure mean time to detection? The gist of it is early, precise detection of incidents enables us to prevent these critical outages, and let's take a look at what I mean by that. So looking here at our graph in the bottom right corner, we've got a graph of service errors measured by our monitoring. So really we want to be able to detect an incident here when these service errors are still pretty low, rather than over here when they're already spiking up pretty high. You can tell that the incident's going to be pretty bad. And the reason is we can find and fix a failure while it's still a Sev 4, rather than waiting to be notified of an incident and ongoing in our environment and it becoming that Sev 0 critical failure. So what is MTTD and MTTR? So MTTD is this mean time to detection per service. So that is, when there is an incident going on within my environment, how quickly am I being notified of that? How quickly am I just pressing that acknowledge when I get that alert that there is a problem in my system? And then MTTR is that mean time to resolution. How long does it take for our team to fix that actual failure? So it's the finding path, the finding aspect of there's an incident going on, I know what's going on, and the fixing aspect of making sure that we're able to resolve the incident in a timely manner. And when it comes to these two acronyms, we always want to say lower is better. The quicker you're able to find and fix an incident, the less impact it's going to have overall. Alright, so how does chaos engineering fit into this? So as we know, chaos engineering is thoughtful planned experiments designed to reveal weaknesses within our system. And the reason chaos engineering is the best way to consistently measure MTTD and keep it low is because you have full control over these incidents that you're creating. You can run these experiments on each individual service, measure that specific MTTD for that service, and continue to replicate that in a safe manner using chaos engineering. So one of the main things that goes into decreasing your MTTD is ensuring that you're getting those correct alerts. So validating your monitoring alerting is working as expected. So the way that you can do this is by running a Gremlin scenario. So you can select just one service, choose one instance or container, and choose our shutdown attack, which is an attack that fully shuts down that host container instance. And then while you're running this attack, you want to check your monitoring dashboard and say, okay, am I looking at the correct thing here? Are these configured correctly for me to know that there's an incident going on and that I can really track that well here? And the second half is, am I being alerted of that incident going on within my environment? What alerts am I getting? Are they actually meaningful? And then so after that, after you've run this experiment, what you want to do as part of the results is modify your monitors and alerting to be appropriate. So you want to make sure that every alert that your team is getting is meaningful, that you find the correct threshold for when you should be notified of a potential incident, so that not every CPU spike is worth sending out a page. But you want to make sure that every time there is a CPU spike that is meaningful, that is actually going to cause that incident in your environment, that is going to go out to your engineers and you're going to be notified of it. And the other half of this is, another way you can do this is on-call training. So this really goes into combining that MTTD and MTTR work here is using Gremlin to create incidents fully safely with that halt all attacks button that you have. And you can do this and you can test your engineers basically by running an attack, which can create a small incident and not necessarily informing your on-call engineers that you're running this attack. So they view this as a real-time real-time experiment incident that's going on. You can say, okay, how fast did they respond? What did they do to fix it? Let's go back and see what could we have done better, or celebrate the wins that they did have in that incident. And these are some questions you can ask yourself when doing on-call training. It doesn't always have to be a surprise. You can use this to make sure that if you're onboarding new engineers at Expedia to different teams, that they're comfortable handling the various types of incidents that they may encounter in real time by using Gremlin to really run these attacks and see how they handle it and make sure they're comfortable and all the processes are set up correctly and most efficiently. So one of my customers that has had a lot of success reducing their mean time detection is Backcountry. So what happened here was in 2017, they had a major outage on Black Friday, and Backcountry is a retail company. So this is, one of the biggest days of the year for them, and they were really count on Black Friday to bring a huge revenue generating day. And they had an incident that occurred and it breached their SLOs, it affected their customers. So they said, okay, we need to be focusing on our reliability more. So we partnered with them, Gremlin and Backcountry, to help them focus on, verifying their monitoring, alerting, recreating these past incidents, doing on-call training to result in 0 incidents during Black Friday 2018, and really reducing that MTTD from 5 hours, super long, to under 5 minutes, which has a huge impact on the ability that incident is going to be able to have in your environment. And then lastly, so where do we measure and use MTTD? So one of the main, I would say, tenets of chaos engineering is sharing your results widely across your community. So not just necessarily within your own team, but sharing the work that your team is doing, the successes you've had. So one of these ways that you can do this is creating a daily email report for key service metrics and sending that to an email alias for certain key stakeholders that would need to know about the MTTD of each of their services. Make sure you guys are keeping your SLOs on track. And then you can also send this to a company-wide email alias, and this is a good way to also track the work that you've been doing with chaos engineering. You can say, okay, we started here, our MTT was at X, and we've been running these experiments, we've been testing service by service, we're finding issues, we're fixing them, we're recreating, we're using Gremlin to validate those fixes, and this is the work that our team has been doing. You can highlight the successes of, some certain on-call engineers, say, hey, this guy responds to an incident the fastest we've ever seen, and we want to highlight that success here. And it's a good way to really make sure that you're keeping all of your service metrics and results from these experiments, but also sharing them with others. All right, so that's what I had for you all today. Curious if there's any questions about mean time to detection, MTTR, and chaos engineering in general. Happy to help.